So, now we need to talk about bromances too. Because everything is problematic, and we have to unpack it. Like, that's the challenge. I don't know how bromances are problematic, but I'm sure the National Post is going to tell us exactly why. I'm sure that they're totally an unbiased and completely reasonable news source for why bromances are bad for women. Title of this article is Rise of the Bromance is Bad for Women. Could become genuine lifestyle relationship. Study. So aside from the bad grammar, already we see a slight issue of basically hyping up every little fucking thing to be a problem. Rise of the Bromance sounds like some kind of fucked up kaiju is about to rise out of the water and destroy Tokyo. When really it's just a bunch of feminists that are angry that guys don't seem to want to date them anymore. Even though this article was written by a dude. But I guess dudes can be feminists, despite what they say. What happens if these bromantic relationships really take off? Women actually just become the sexual fulfillers of men and nothing else. That's the worrying aspect. I think I could take all these feminist buzzwords like aspect, problematic, microaggression, cis, and probably put them into one of those magnetic insert the word, create the sentence things that they sell at Urban Outfitters and probably make a killing. I might actually get on that. Also, look at this picture. These dudes look so fucking happy. Like, how can you be so salty that these dudes are so fucking happy? They also might be, like, actual legit gay, but that's beside the point. A key theme of the Bromance for Men, researchers found, was the freedom to express themselves without judgment and to engage in emotional intimacy without fear. What is so terrible about that? When I was a feminist before, that was always a goal of ours, I felt, was so that men could actually, express their feelings towards other men without being called a faggot. And now suddenly this is an issue. I don't understand. It's a no-win situation. The rise of the intimate bromance as a new form of friendship has liberated young men from the stifling bigotries of homophobia, which should be a good thing. But it imperils young women who are increasingly regarded as little more than targets of sexual attraction, according to new sociological research. You've always been the target of sexual attraction. That's how the human race, continues on. Procreation is helped along quite a bit by the fact that two people are sexually attracted to each other. That's how biology works. That's just basic fucking biology. But no, sociology is going to tell us that this is problematic. If I was a sociologist, I would be really pissed off at what's happened to my field of study, but that's beside the point. Rather, it may be a regressive development with especially worrying results for women. His results, based on interviews with male undergraduate students, concluded that men saw their female romantic partners as judgmental and as the primary regulators of their behavior. This led to a generalized disdain for women and a view of romance in which men feel they are constantly posturing and self-monitoring, not only to achieve desired heterosexual sex, but to prevent relationship destruction. You're right, Joseph Brian. It is a regressive development. Everything that comes out of feminism and, unfortunately, sociological research has tended to be regressive in recent years. And the worrying results aren't just for women, it's for these men too, because basically what this translates to is that I am a college feminist and all the men think I'm a bitch and just want to sleep with me. The bromance may not be the progressive expression of enlightened masculinity as it is sometimes described and portrayed in movies, said Adam White of the University of Bedfordshire in Britain. whenever they seem to try to portray some kind of bromance in movies or any kind of close relationship with another man, which is what a bromance is, everybody seems to jump to the connection to a romantic type of relationship, or even that the characters are having sex, which is ridiculous. It's like no one can have a close relationship with someone anymore, whether they be the opposite sex or the same sex, without there being some kind of sexual tension or sexual contact. It's very fucking lazy, and I'm real fucking tired of it. It was part of the reason I became a feminist in the first place, because I kind of wanted to get rid of that whole connection with sex being in everything, and just have good, well-developed characters. But apparently we can't even have that, because everything has to be psychoanalyzed to the point where everything is just a fucking problem. Nothing is ever perfect, and you can't ever win. Rather, it may be a regressive development with especially worrying results for women. His research, based on interviews with male undergraduate students, well, there's your fucking problem. You went to a college campus, concluded that men saw their female romantic partners as judgmental and as the primary regulators of their behavior. Well, that's what dating in college is right now. People are so easily triggered that everyone has to walk on eggshells, especially around the self-proclaimed feminist. Bonus points if said feminist has to wear a fucking t-shirt to claim the fact that they are a feminist. And the slightest microaggression, the tiniest slight, or the smallest disagreement with your female partner might lead to a complete mental breakdown in which she will not only break up with you, but potentially lie about you and say that you raped her, or just generally smear your name across campus until you are persona non grata to get the pussy. A key theme of the bromance, on the other hand, was the freedom to express themselves without judgment and to engage in emotional intimacy without fear. And you know what? That should be the goal. Everybody needs to let out sometime. And if you can't do it with your girlfriend, I see no problem with having, your best bro that's just so super close to you and listens to every word that you say and loves you in a completely and totally platonic way, and you can tell them anything. That's a wonderful thing. It shouldn't matter the gender of the person that you have that kind of relationship with, because that kind of relationship is pretty fucking rare. And, everybody needs somebody that they can talk to without fear of being judged. The rise of the bromance is very, very good for men, White said. It offers young men the opportunity for, as the research found, elevated emotional stability, enhanced emotional disclosure, social fulfillment, and better conflict resolution compared to the emotional lives they shared with girlfriends. That's what I said. It's a good thing. Men have the highest suicide rate of any group. So, in my book, any kind of emotional stability in a group of people, like men that have a hard time talking about their feelings, like men who frequently brag about the fact that they never talk about their feelings, I think is a good thing. But it's not necessarily benefiting women, because, you can't have anything in this world that doesn't directly benefit women. No, you can't have that. But it's not necessarily benefiting women, and in fact may well be disadvantaging them. Oh God. How terrible. Something that does not directly affect someone positively. Can't have that. The new paper in the journal Men and Masculinities even suggests bromance could become a widely accepted domestic arrangement, with sex so freely available without emotional attachments through social media, for example, and because bromances occupy such a privileged spot in young men's lives, the bromance could increasingly become recognized as a genuine lifestyle relationship whereby two heterosexual men can live together and experience all the benefits of a traditional heterosexual relationship. According to co-authors White, Stephenson, Robinson, and Eric Anderson of the Universities of Winchester and Bedfordshire in the UK. And you know what? that actually might become a thing. I mean, think about it. If you were a dude and you had the choice to basically live forever with your best bro, drinking beers, watching whatever sports you prefer, and talking and jawing and sharing your feelings without the possibility of someone telling you exactly why it's problematic and harmful to women and that you're a racist, sexist, cis scum, or, dating a woman that's constantly going to tell you what to do and what to... Oh my God, we are fucking terrible, but you get my point. Hell, people have been saying that bro jobs are a thing, so, like, you might even have the blowjob thing covered. Wow, holy shit, feminism might be bringing about the end of humanity through bitchiness. What happens in 50 years, say, if these romantic relationships really take off and men decide, hang on, we really enjoy these are much better, we can gain more emotionality from it. We're less regulated, we're less policed, White said, and therefore men actually just become the sexual fulfillers of men and nothing else. That's the worrying aspect. We're less regulated. We have to regulate men. Men need to be regulated because they're a bunch of horny fucks. But unfortunately, they don't actually want to have an emotional relationship with us because every time they try to, we treat them like shit. Oh my God, feminism really is poison. That's terrible. Hang on, we really enjoyed these. Yeah, if I was a dude, I would really enjoy that too. The key historical context of the bromance is the recent decline in homophobia, the paper argues. We contend that the male preference for emotionality between other men rather than women has come about due to a significant cultural shift in the structure of masculinity, reads the paper. So basically, homophobia is good for women. The paper notes that in the late 19th and early 20th century, men posed for photographs together in physically intimate ways, wrote endearing letters to each other, and even slept in the same beds in non-sexual contexts. But the increasing social visibility of homosexuality led to a climate of hysteria and stigma. To prove that we were not gay, we acted hyper-masculine, White said. So it sounds like the argument is that we're going back to the type of relationships that late 19th century and early 20th century men had, in which they were physically more intimate without being sexually intimate. And yet somehow we're all here. Like, people still had sex and got married and had babies. This is one of those cases of, like, making a mountain out of a molehill. Or, a completely fucking flat plane because there's no fucking problem here. As a result, men began to distance themselves from each other emotionally. The paper quotes one scholar to the effect that men have not known what it means to love and care for a friend without the shadow of some guilt and fear of peer ridicule. I've always thought that was just the worst thing. Like, two dudes can't even hug without being called gay, and that is fucking tragic because everybody needs a bromance. Okay, women's behavior has also been socially policed and restricted, but women are traditionally freer to express a wider range of emotional behavior, and they maintain friendships through shared emotional and disclosing secrets. But men shared almost nothing of their emotional life, and only knew they were friends if they participated in activities together like playing sports, drinking, fixing things, or gambling. So this seems very terrible and, kind of makes you a bitch for wanting to thrust this on men again for the sake of not offending the women. Not all women mind, just the ones that complain that two guys are closer to each other than they are to her, and this is a problem because, I don't know, I'm a bitch and I don't want my partner to be happy. As times have changed and we've seen homophobia decrease and homosexuality become a more accepted notion within society, what we've noticed is that people no longer need to do that, Adam White said. Wonderful. That sounds great. I think a more honest dialogue about your feelings, again, is a good thing. I'm starting to sound a bit like a broken record, but you get what I mean. People no longer care about being thought gay, and therefore they can behave in a number of different ways. All sorts of things are now open up for... That was retarded. I think what he means is all sorts of things are now opened up for men without them being thought of to be a sissy or a fag because nobody cares. Yes, because nobody cares and nobody should care. The relationship you have with your bro is the relationship you have with your bro. Does not make you a sissy. Does not make you a fag. And you shouldn't care if someone calls you a sissy or a fag. Because you know what you are. It was in this modern climate that the bromance emerged. First as a movie genre, a mix of the buddy movie and the romantic comedy. Jonah Hill, Seth Rogen, James Franco, and Michael Cera have all famously played the part. The cultural adoption of the bromance term represents an increased recognition that young men are permitted to have more diverse and homosexual masculine identities. All right, first of all, people shouldn't really be getting social commentary from celebrities. Their lives don't exist in reality. Today, as White describes it, university residences are full of young men cuddling and expressing emotional intimacies. Everybody's doing it, and there's not even a consideration that they might be gay. Yeah, it sounds like, a healthy outlet of emotions. No, but it's gotta be a problem. See, unless you're doing it with a woman, then you're hurting women. And that's problematic because women should be allowed to be as terrible, overpowering, overbearing, controlling, and restrictive to men as they want to be. And guys should have no emotional outlet for it. They should just take it. This is, in my opinion, reflected also in the fact that women constantly complain about the wage gap, which is really an earnings gap. And, the reason that it exists is because women don't tend to want to take the hard jobs like, coal miners, construction workers, blue-collar jobs like that actually pay better than the blue-collar jobs that women take. And ergo, they make less money on the whole. It's kind of like that. Like, to the type of person that writes this, they seem to think that men just need to be the constant earners. And the article goes on to conclude that they studied undergrad males that had at least one bromance and one romance within the last year. And they basically said it was like having a girlfriend without having a girlfriend. So essentially, it's problematic that these guys are finding emotional intimacy with someone that's not another woman because all they want is for the women to have sex with them and nothing else. Because literally, as the article says, the women in these undergraduate programs are apparently so fucking restrictive and hostile that they would rather just hang out with their guy friends and have a semi-romantic relationship with them than sleep even more than a night with these, as they said themselves, restrictive women. While I don't really see a problem with guys having a deep emotional connection with one another, I think it's funny that they're now complaining that though we originally wanted guys to be able to have deep emotional connections with each other, it's now a problem because now they don't want to connect with us. Oh, this is priceless. I hope I got my point across to you guys pretty well. I was excited about sharing this article because I found it hilarious and ironic that to a lot of guys, it seems the bromance is all the good parts of the romance without the bitching. Who wouldn't love it? Thanks for watching, pricks. This has been Thorn Inside, and I'm not sure how to end this video. I knew about it before, but shit happened with the recording, and I kind of lost my steam. Hopefully you still enjoyed it. I've been making fun of another article I found online.